In the sun-beaten streets of Hapeville, Georgia, one summer afternoon seemed like it would unfold like any other. Kids riding bikes, lawn sprinklers hissing away, the familiar hum of suburban normalcy. But for one determined young boy, this day wasn't about play. It was about work and dreams. Clutching a battered flyer offering yardwork services, mowing lawns, trimming hedges, raking leaves, the boy made his way door to door. His mission? Earn enough money to buy a PlayStation. No GoFundMe, no viral TikTok hustle, just honest, sweat-soaked work. He wasn't selling anything shady. He wasn't casing houses. He wasn't causing trouble. He was offering to work. But in America, sometimes a young black boy with ambition isn't seen as a hard-working entrepreneur. He's seen as a threat. It didn't take long before someone dialed 911. There's a boy walking around. He's knocking on doors. It looks suspicious. The call was brief but heavy, heavy with assumptions, heavy with fear dressed up as concern. Officer Colleran of the Hapeville Police Department was dispatched to check it out. A routine call, the kind that could have spiraled into a statistic if mishandled. Too often we know how these stories end, not with smiles, but with shouting, with cuffs, sometimes worse. But this one took a different turn. When Colleran pulled up, he didn't reach for his weapon. He reached for a conversation. The boy, still holding his flyers, explained himself quickly, clearly, politely. He was simply trying to make a little money, the old-fashioned way. No scams, no begging, just lawnmowers, rakes, and a goal. Colleran, a gamer himself, was immediately moved by the boy's sincerity, and by something deeper. The stark unfairness of a world where a kid offering to rake your leaves might end up facing police interrogation. Instead of treating the boy like a suspect, Colleran treated him like what he was, a kid trying to make his dreams real. But Colleran didn't stop there. Later that day, moved by what he had witnessed, he reached out to some friends, fellow gamers, people who knew what it meant to save up, dollar by dollar, for something you wanted more than anything. Together, they pooled their resources and bought the boy a brand new PlayStation. No strings, no pity, just recognition. When Colleran returned, PlayStation in hand, the boy's eyes widened, his arms wrapped tightly around the officer in a spontaneous, emotional hug. In that moment, someone captured a photograph, a young boy clinging to a man in uniform, both of them smiling, bridging a chasm that, far too often, remains wide open in this country. The Hapeville Police Department shared the story on social media, writing, "Officer Colleran had the pleasure of meeting a young man wanting to do yard work around the community to save up for a PlayStation. They struck up a conversation, and with help from friends, Officer Colleran was able to surprise him later with one. It was a feel-good post, and genuinely, it should be celebrated. But let's not kid ourselves. The story doesn't end with a PlayStation. Because while this one incident ended with hugs and happy endings, the reason it started still matters. A kid shouldn't have to get lucky and meet a good cop to avoid disaster. He shouldn't have to fear that knocking on the wrong door could turn his dreams into handcuffs. In many ways, what happened in Hapeville is a microcosm of a larger American truth, that for too many children, especially children of color, simple ambition is often misread as suspicion. Studies have shown again and again that black children are perceived as older, less innocent, and more threatening than their white peers. It's called adultification bias. It's ugly, it's real, and it almost stole this boy's chance at just being a kid. The person who called the police, their name isn't in the article, their face isn't splashed across Facebook, but their fear lingers, the silent antagonist in a story that could have been tragic. Instead of asking questions, instead of greeting the boy with kindness, they chose fear. And make no mistake, their choice had consequences. Even though this story had a happy ending, the boy now knows that his skin color can turn honest work into suspicion. That knowledge doesn't just disappear when you boot up a PlayStation. There's a tendency when we see stories like this to wrap them up neatly with a bow. See, there are good cops. See, it's not all bad. And yes, Officer Colleran's actions were good, were human, were deeply admirable. But that shouldn't blind us to the larger pattern. One good deed doesn't erase the structures that made it necessary. If anything, it shows us what's possible and what remains broken. Imagine a world where no one called the police at all. Where that boy went door to door, shaking hands, landing lawn jobs, earning his PlayStation on his own steam, feeling proud and safe all the way through. That's the world we should be working toward. One where kindness from an officer is still welcome, but not required to survive an afternoon of honest work. Following the viral attention, members of the Hapeville community stepped up. Some offered to hire the boy for actual yard work. Others simply wanted to show support. People realized, maybe a little too late, that they had a young entrepreneur among them, not a threat. Officer Colleran became a local hero of sorts. His gesture was small but meaningful, a reminder that while no one person can fix systemic issues, every individual interaction matters. As for the boy, well, he got his PlayStation. But more than that, he got a glimpse, a complicated, bittersweet glimpse, of both the worst and best of the world he's growing up in. We love happy endings. They're easier, cleaner, but real life isn't a Hallmark movie. It's messy. It's complicated. This story had a happy moment, a bright flash of human decency. But the real ending isn't a PlayStation or a hug. It's the hope that one day kids like him won't need to be saved from suspicion in the first place. Until then, we keep telling these stories, not to pat ourselves on the back, but to keep our eyes open, wide open.